Yes, it is that time again. What a glorious time for myself and Dr. Cornel West. You're listening to Truth Time, and we are so excited. We count it all joy that we are here together. Doc, I don't know. George Floyd, the anniversary of his murder is coming up. I hate to say anniversary, but anniversary of his murder is coming up here on May the 25th. A lot of actions are going to be taken. The question we have to ask ourselves, have any real police reforms happened in the United States of America? Are they durable? I don't know. With this Trump administration rolling back consent decrees and dropping Department of Justice charges against police departments, kind of feels like we're going backwards. So we're going to jump in. We're going to wrestle with that. And then, Doc, I talked to one of my dear colleagues from the great state of South Carolina, Representative John King. Now, it's all out there in the streets that Governor Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland, the first African American governor of Maryland, vetoed a reparations bill. And so people are hot, especially in the ADOS community. I mean, they just hot. It's fit to be tied. So anyway, Governor Moore was scheduled to speak in South Carolina at the Palmetto Dinner, which is a extraordinarily big deal for Democrats in the state of South Carolina. And Representative John King uninvited him over the fact that he vetoed that reparations bill. I had a conversation with him, Doc. I want to talk about that a little bit and talk about the incredible courage that it took for Representative John King to stand on principle and to stand up for the needs of those Black descendants, Black Americans who are descendants of enslaved people. He told me he catching all kinds of heat, Doc. He's on the ballot next year. But I'm glad that he had even that type of courage and did not back down just because Governor Westmore is a Black man. But before we get to all of that, the doctor's in the house. Doc, what's on your heart, your soul, and your mind?
Well, it's always a blessing to be in conversation with you, my dear sister. I continually wrestle with this one question. What does it really take to treat Black people with respect and decency? To treat Black people fairly and justly? See, that's always been the burning question in the history of the country. Now, indigenous peoples and others, of course, have been viciously treated, but the Black bit at the center of it. And when I think of Brother George Floyd Jr., not only of public lynching, I think of the nameless Black folk who have been treated brutally by the police and murdered 1,200 every year. So this is 5 years ago. You see, so you're talking about 6,000 since then who have been murdered by police, and about 40%, 38% of those are Black folk. So that's a whole lot of folk, disproportionate for other folk, but a whole lot of folk. Then I think of what happened just today in the White House with the president of South Africa, where President Trump shows a video of Black people calling for the killing of white farmers for the whole world on the global international stage. Now, there's never been a video of the Black people lynched by fellow white Americans. Never been a video of Black people killed by policemen. Never been a video of Palestinian babies who were murdered by U.S. sponsored policies. There's never been a video of Black Wall Street of Tulsa, Oklahoma. But that becomes the international site for the claims about genocide. Now, William Patterson and Paul Robeson and W.B. Du Bois took America to the United Nations saying what? We charge genocide against Black people. You have killed thousands of Black people just this year. And the video had these hundreds of Black folk, then they're handed pieces of paper and they show all the deaths. Now, you and I, of course, we're against the killing of any innocent people, no matter what color. We have a morality. But the level of hypocrisy and unbelievable level of hiding the structures and systems of racist domination and capitalist domination is so overwhelming that I say to myself, mm, mm, mm. I mean, reparations is a weak claim. All reparations is saying is give us what we already actually have contributed, something that's already ours. And what is the Trump administration? What is the Trump administration saying? Making sure that white farmers are treated with decency and dignity when they are 4% of the population and own over 2/3 of the land. That's what he's willing to fight for. So with black people, Palestinian peoples, indigenous peoples, brown immigrants, we don't count. We don't matter. And it's not just Trump. You see, we're dealing with a whole system because you got Democrats in place for so long that could not in any way zero in on these police departments, could not in any way come to terms with poverty, could not with any way come to terms with mass incarceration, couldn't say a mumbling word about genocide in Gaza. These are the things that deeply concern me, and I have to make sure that I preserve a space in my heart, mind, and soul for joy and memory of moments of great happiness and moments of great ecstasy, because to think too much about the levels of evil that we're talking about can drive you crazy, can drive a black man and a black woman out of their mind. I understand now more readily why the folk in Shiloh Baptist Church will begin Sunday morning saying, Lord, thank you because I arose in my right mind. That is a major achievement for a black person to stay in their right mind when you see these levels of hypocrisy and atrocity and criminality and mendacity running amok everywhere you look. So yes, we're gonna zero in on Brother George Floyd Jr., but we're gonna view it as a moment connected to a larger network, a larger a wave of ugliness and spiritual decadence in the American empire.
Decadence and decay. Hey, listen, you all, you heard it. You heard it here. In the black church, when the preacher has preached a sermon, you just say amen. You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner. When we come forward, we'll continue this dialogue.
Speaking truth to power and to the powerless. This is Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
One, two, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on.
On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice Plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
Love you.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
To thine own self be true. More of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner coming your way right now on KBLA Talk 1580.
Delighted that you all are with us. The doctor's in the house. He laid out a tremendous soliloquy. If you are just joining us, please make sure that you go back and listen. You need to download the KBLA app, and you can listen to us wherever you get your podcast. Doc, you laid it down. The seminal question this afternoon, well, really for a lifelong, what does it take to treat Black people fairly? My God, that is a question for the ages. The levels of hypocrisy, atrocities, mendacity. Oh my God, Doc was laying it down. So 5 years after George Floyd Jr. was murdered, he was lynched, no doubt about that, lynched, murdered. Are police reforms being rolled back? And is that the only answer to this conundrum? I would say that it is bigger than just reforming police departments. We need a reformation on the entire soul of America, because police departments, police officers, or should I say law enforcement agencies themselves, are a reflection of our larger society, Doc, and people don't want to deal with that. In other words, not all law enforcement officers are bad. Some of them understand clearly what's happening systemically. Some of them got it. But the culture of these departments, because how they were born, how they were created, still continue to have a legacy of anti-Blackness. And when you are anti-Black, you're usually anti-other groups. You're usually anti-women. You're usually anti-LGBTQ plus, anti-people with disabilities, anti a whole bunch of stuff. The centering of this white supremacy starts with being anti-Black, and then it flows to other marginalized groups. Something that we do not come to grips with is that people in uniform are sent out to do what they do by people wearing suits.
No, absolutely. And see, part of the problem is when you have a culture, not just in police departments, but in a variety of other contexts too, where to be anti-Black, especially anti-Black poor, because see, the upper middle class folk who are Black do tend to get treated a little differently than the Black poor. Now, the white supremacist treatment is one in which even upper middle class, you can get trashed. There's no doubt about that. But there is still a class differentiation here. But what happens is, and we saw this in Memphis and other places, that you can end up with Black police officers who conform to the anti-Black atmosphere in police departments and are rewarded if they enact anti-Black brutality. Because those 3 Black policemen in Memphis, they were beaten down.
They were brutal.
You know what I mean? So I agree with you. We know that there's some very decent police brothers and sisters who are Black and even who are white. But when you have structure and a whole culture in place, they have to cut against the grain, put some pressure on them, because they know they have colleagues who can treat Black people brutally and get away with it, sometimes even be rewarded. And so it is a bigger challenge than just police reform. But one of the ways of trying to deal with this, of course, is trying to deal with the issues of poverty and housing and jobs with a living wage, because that's how one of the ways in which you deal with crime. You'll never be able to eliminate crime. Human beings are going to be human beings, but you can cut back on crime if you didn't have any poor people at all, if you didn't have any unemployed people at all, if you didn't have any unhoused people at all, if you didn't have any people who didn't have health care and so forth, crime would go down. It would not be eliminated. It would go down. And that's why the struggle against white supremacy is always a struggle also against capitalist inequality.
That's it, Doc. It is class and caste. It is all of those things. They're connected. So the Marshall Project put out what they're calling a closing argument, and the headline is 5 years after George Floyd's murder, police reforms are being rolled back. As reforms stall in some states, the U.S. Supreme Court just made it easier for police to be sued and perhaps easier for police to defend themselves. So we know we have all kinds of contradictions bubbling up there. We do have a White House, though, that is going in and stripping any the little monicum of accountability that these law enforcement agencies had. They're rolling them back. Consent decrees, for example. And by nature, a consent decree means that the two parties consented to this. So it's not just a city or a region, meaning a county, putting forth that onto a law enforcement agency. It means that they all parties sat down and they came to an agreement to consent for this decree. They're rolling that back. The Biden administration has several investigations of police brutality going on across the country during the Department of Justice. We know that this Department of Justice has rolled back that they've cut back on that division at all. So the little bit that the Biden administration was doing, and I do mean little bit that it was doing, even that is being taken away. Doc, so I mean, how are people? I don't know. I mean, I know Black people are on the edge right now, on the edge for many reasons. Been on edge for a long time, but this right now that's happening is in our face. There's a difference between these things happening covertly and overtly. We've been accustomed within the 21st century, at least, to have these slights, these life and death slights. I shouldn't even use the word slight, mainly being done in a very covert way. Under the Trump administration, they're very overt.
That's real. Very much so. No, I think we just need to have our independent Black institutions from churches and mosques and others to generate forms of self-defense. I mean, we can't love our people and not defend our people.
Mm.
And we have to do that in such a way that we letting folk know that we will never ever kowtow or bow down to any forces that are trying to crush us. And that's precisely what we're having to deal with. I mean, not just out of the White House, but it's coming out of Wall Street, it's coming out of big tech. They have very little care and concern for Black people. Look, for example, where we were 5 years ago. All the big tech, all of Wall Street was saying what? Race, white supremacy, the most crucial issue. DEI programs supported. We are fundamentally committed to treating Black people decently, especially given what we saw with Brother George Floyd Jr. You can count on us. We are delivering all of this money. They wasn't serious. They wasn't substantive about that. It was posing. It was posturing. As soon as it became unfashionable and out of season, they cut back. As soon as the gangster took over the White House, they went with him, who's calling to it not just eliminate all DEI, but he wants to eliminate the very history that serves as the basis for any kind of reparations or any kind of demands for justice, as if all of us arrived here on the Mayflower rather than the Mayflower arriving on our necks and on our backs and on our babies, as Malcolm used to say. See, that's the kind of thing that we need. We have to be able to have forms of self-defense, self-determination, and self-respect. And that takes a number of different forms, but it lets folk know that we still fighting. And they'll look at us and say, well, you're not winning. Oh, you know what? Let us tell you something right now. We could be defeated with right and morality, and we're still stronger with your gangsterism triumphant at the moment, because this too shall pass.
Yeah, amen. Amen on that, doc. And that whole self-defense, self-determination, self-respect, right in Cincinnati, Ohio, up the street about 4 hours from Cleveland, a group came into a predominantly black, a KKK group, a white supremacist group, came into that community, and they armed up. The black people armed up and said, "Not on our watch. Are you going to terrorize our community?" And I'm not talking about something that happened 5 years ago, 2 years ago. I'm talking about happening right now. And so the fact that this administration and the corporations, they are emboldening people who this is already in them. They could be our neighbors, they could be our co-workers, you never know. But now that spirit is being emboldened to come out to front. And in some ways, as much as it pains me, Doc, but we need to know. We need not to be lullabied to sleep. We need to understand exactly what we're dealing with in this country. And it's easier when it's not in your face all the time in a physical form to kind of think that we are all right. We're not all right. We haven't been all right for a long time. And as somebody once said, the struggle is forever. So we are forever in the struggle. And we must never, ever forget that. So I'm loving what you're saying about that self defense, self determination, and self respect. Again, what does it take to treat Black people fairly in the United States of America? So, Marshall Project, again, Doc, outlining some of the things that are being scaled back. They go on to write that in Minnesota, the bail fund that gained national prominence during the George Floyd protests is stepping back from its once core mission of paying bail in Alabama, paying bail. Now, as you laid out, you see, it wasn't real, because if it was real, you ain't gonna step back from something that is in your heart, your soul, in your mission. But they stepping back from that. So that's in Minnesota. In Alabama, lawmakers passed the quote "Back the Blue" law, expanding legal immunity for police officers just a few days after an onslaught of thousands of proposed state bills aimed at increasing police accountability. So we are retreating, we're regressing, if you will, on this police reforms. In West Virginia, new legislation permits officers to fulfill part of their mandatory training within public schools, just a few years removed from a nationwide push to remove police from educational settings altogether. So, as they were going on to say, these are just a handful of examples of the retrenchment, what's the retreat of reforms that were hopefully designed to bring some more balance to what is happening in police departments. I go back to my original premise that I am not shocked by this. I see the barking dogs, I see the water hoses, I see the bodies hanging from trees. I see, Black grown people being disrespected. I hear the stories of my grandparents and even my father. This is America being America. And so law enforcement is a microcosm of America itself. So as we know that they have badges and guns, definitely they have a bigger onus because they do have such firepower. The bigger thing is, and not to let any of them off the hook, is to ask the question about America.
Mm,
Because
mm,
they're operating in America's name.
absolutely. No, it's very true. It's very, and you say to yourself that if almost 80 million fellow citizens can vote for a gangster like Trump to gain access to the White House, to then show videos with a smile of Africans who have called for the cutback of land, and then there's a couple of them calling for the killing of the Boers. Okay, that's wrong. You don't need to be killing folk. You don't need to be killing folk now. But there's not one effort to highlight all of the cause of the killings of Black people. Not just the killings, but the actual lynchings and actual killings of Black people. Never. And you can't even conceive of that ever taking place in the Oval Office, what we saw today. You can't even conceive of anybody seemingly talking about genocide of Black people, a genocide of Palestinians, a genocide of what's happening in Sudan, Uganda now with the U.S. use of the neo-colonial leader there. No discussion of that in the Oval Office, but you can have a sustained, internationally focused discussion of this small group of white farmers undergoing genocide. They use the word genocide.
Wow, wow. But meanwhile, right now, as you and I sit here, 14,000 babies, the UN has come out and saying if they don't get that food, if they don't get it within 48 hours, and they only got 24 now, that they're going to die. And that's not even counting the other people who have already died. And then the people that are dying slowly. I bet you ain't going to show no video of George Floyd with that officer's knee on his neck. You're listening to True Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner. We're talking about the 5-year anniversary of George Floyd and whether or not police reforms are really happening. When we come forward, we'll continue.
The truth will set you free, but first it might raise your blood pressure.
I'm not driving you, man.
More of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Tensions rose as President Trump accused South Africa of genocide against white Afrikaners during a meeting with President Ramaphosa, who says he wants to discuss the issue.
You are a partner of South Africa, and you are raising concerns. And these are concerns that we are willing to talk to you about.
Ramaphosa denied the allegations, telling Trump there is a minority party behind the tensions between blacks and whites. Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking trial is back on in New York City. A Homeland Security agent described the Miami raid, revealing drugs and baby oil. And Chris Brown is out on $6.7 million bail after a London court hearing tied to a 2023 nightclub assault. He was arrested last week, but can now move forward with his European tour starting June 8th. His next court date is June 20th. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emanuel as among the 4 law firms in-house counsel least likely to oppose in any litigation, and we are often deemed the most feared. And after securing over $80 billion for our clients in various matters firm-wide, we understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfire support at QuinnEmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
The Comedy Connection series featuring KBLA's Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, and the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady. We're going to transform relationship disasters into stand-up material live at Inglewood's Miracle Theater on May 31st at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. My clinical team will disclose all of your dating woes, while the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady, has hand-selected supremely talented comedians to roast all of our tragic relationship choices. I dare you to bring your ex's phone number because Ray, he's going to text it live and the crowd will be sourcing emojis. Tickets are moving swiftly, so don't hesitate to grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before I diagnose your dating history as a pre-existing condition.
This is where love and truth meet.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
Beautiful indeed. And we are so glad that you are back, Doc. We're going to the tube to share out loud some of what's going on in the chat. A lot of love for each other, per usual. I love this community that has been built on the Truth Time live chat on the tube. We got Blessed Peacemaker. Greetings, Senator Turner and Dr. West. Thank you for your beautiful witness to the grace of Christ to love enemies, showing love to Biden despite his evil. I am so thankful for you both. And, we were talking about that. We free Black people, and people can't tell us who to have humanity for and who not. So thank you for that, Blessed Peacemaker. Got culture in the house. What up, family? Morris Phillips. Good afternoon, Senator Turner and Dr. West. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for you as well. Blessed Peacemaker, I appreciate you mentioning Libya as well and the evil of displacing Palestinians into a nation the U.S. destroyed for oil. So if you didn't tune in yesterday, Doc and I had this discussion about whether or not African countries will in fact participate with the Trump administration in the displacement of Palestinians.
Absolutely. No, you made that point with great power.
Yeah, I hope that they don't, Doc. We got Brother Morris Phillips asking, Dr. West, other countries have everything that you're talking about. The difference is that we invest in the billionaire class and not our institutions. So I think that point is, other countries are wrestling with some of the same things that we are, but we invest in that billionaire class in ways that maybe other countries do not.
Well, I don't know about that, though, Brother Phillips, because the top 1% of the population own the vast majority of wealth in nearly every country that exists.
And that's happening because government.
What's happening because you have a capitalist economy that allows for a small group of people to get very rich while the masses of people working and poor people are dependent on those rich people and therefore are unable to gain access to what they really deserve, which was a decent life and to live a life of dignity. Now, it's true that we have a higher level of wealth inequality because our working class organizations are weaker, because our unions are weaker, because it's harder for our black and white and brown and indigenous workers to come together to fight the bosses. The bosses keep us divided. But it's also true that in most nations, you've got, vast wealth inequality because you got the same capitalist processes going on all around the world. It's a global phenomenon.
Global phenomenon. Blessed peacemaker. We see what you all are going through there, meaning in America. We see it here in Africa. How do we come together as Americans and Africans and fight side by side against the empire that hates and kills Black lives?
Solidarity movements. That's all we have. Raise voices, put our bodies on the line, sustain our organizations to the best of our ability, and always have a openness to solidarity of people who are suffering, no matter where they are, no matter what country, no matter what region. It's moral and spiritual in content, and it has political consequences as a result.
Yeah, amen to that. Solidarity movements all over the world. Morris Phillips, culture. I got a way out. Check out microsonic energy generators. We get a monopoly, we get paid. So understand that we need money for the mission, basically, and that is true.
That's true.
Yeah, in order to fight, we definitely we need people power and we need money for the mission. So I got that and I understand that. Blessed Peacemaker again, Senator Turner. Please remind viewers on YouTube to hit the like button. Please, viewers, hit the like button. I don't know what we would do without Blessed Peacemaker and Dr. Anahita. So, viewers on the YouTube, to hit the like button to help KBLA and Truth Time find more viewers, more likes, more eyeballs, more of a chance to reach those who need this truth. Thank you, Blessed Peacemaker. Hit like and hit subscribe. And those of you who are either watching on the tube or you're just listening, tell your friends and your frenemies about Truth Time. Tell your friends and your frenemies about KBLA Talk 1580. It will change their life. And then we got, I thought I saw B Bell in here, which I'm always so tickled. I love me some B Bell. B Bell of Bad Dog Bullies. Good afternoon, brother Dr. West and sister Senator Nina Turner. It does seem like this administration depends on keeping everyone just one crisis away from desperation by criminalizing poverty. It does.
Powerful. That's powerful.
Yeah, it does. You hit the nail on the head. We got Stan Williams in the house. The question is now, how does the affected non-wealthy population survive when every pillar of society is built on exploitation?
Yeah. And in the end, we won't survive. This and this will not endure. You can't have a social experiment predicated on escalating organized greed and escalating weaponized hatred. You just can't do it. People have tried it for thousands and thousands of years and thought they could pull it off, and they never can.
That's deep. That's heavy, Doc. That is heavy. We won't and it can't. Culture coming back up. We need to pass a bill that states that if a law, service, or program has been active for 5 years or more, it will require a community vote to remove or defund it. That's pretty good.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Culture. We really do appreciate that. I examine life. Thank you for telling the truth, Dr. West and Senator. Love and peace. Love and peace back to you. I examine life. You all are just wonderful. Stan Williams back up. We didn't come on the Mayflower. We came on the good ship Jesus. Have mercy. Oh, y'all hitting it. They hitting it, Doc. B-Bell or Bad Dog Bullies back up. Oh, go ahead, Doc. Go ahead.
I just want to say I'm still on the good ship Jesus.
He's still on the good ship Jesus. I hear you with the sandals on. B-Bell or Bad Dog Bullies, minor infractions turn into life sentences, if not death sentences. We must stay informed and united. Yeah, we do.
That's so very true.
We got Daniel in the house. Hey, Daniel Samir. Peace and grace, Dr. West and Senator Turner. Peace and grace, Team KBLA with the peace sign. We appreciate that so much. Then, culture, others who are watching this broadcast, hit the like button and support. Thank you. All right. Blessed Peacemaker that started something. People are in there, they talking that talk. We got Lemon Exhaustion in the house. Where you been, Lemon Exhaustion? You haven't been here in a while. Thank you, Senator Turner, for always using your platform to defend the most vulnerable communities. I always see screenshots of your Twitter and how you lift the voice to speak truth, and how you lift your voice to speak truth. Well, I appreciate that. Certainly being teamed up with another truth teller is so helpful. But Doc, we really do try to do that. And these really are some heavy times. Going back to what you said about this president and the pure unadulterated gall that he had to show that kind of video, but he's not going to take care of the anti-blackness that's going on at home with a minority population. Numerically, Black people are the minority, one of the minority groups in this country, but he ain't showing no videos about that.
That's exactly right. That's
But he gonna tell this other man what to do in his country with the exaggeration that this minority population, as you said, nobody should be killed and put upon, but came all up into South Africa and took the Black South Africans' land and money and apartheid and all that, but you ain't showing none of that. You listening to True Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner. We are going deep, deep, deep today. When we come forward, we're going to continue this conversation.
It's Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580. 1580.
I feel so alone. I'm embarrassed to talk about it.
How can I help my kid if I can't help myself?
I can't remember when I wasn't stressed.
I don't like inside.
When you feel overwhelmed by your thoughts and emotions, it's okay to get help. You are not alone. CalHope is here for you with free, safe, and confidential mental health resources for youth, young adults, families, and you. Find support now at calhope.org.
You really about to do it?
40 acres and a mule. This is bigger than the music.
You really about to do it?
Yeah, they tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence.
Who among us doesn't like black music? But Kendrick is right. This moment is so much bigger than music. These are serious times. We've got serious problems, and we need serious people who understand that slogans are not solutions. When you want substantial and sober analysis about things that matter to you and the ones you love, this is where you turn. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
1455 Frazee, San Diego. CordellCordell.com.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Truth shall rise again. You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
It most certainly will, Doc. Wow, we're going deep, deep, deep. Many thanks to all of the people on the tube who are right there in real time. We appreciate you. And as they have said, please hit the like button. Do that for us. So, Doc, Representative John King in the great state of South Carolina. So he put this whole letter to the South Carolina Democratic Party. He put it on Facebook. As I said, I had an opportunity to talk to my dear friend last night. I want to read a portion of what he put on Facebook. But one of the things that he said to me last night is that he had to stand up. reminding me that South Carolina had one of the biggest, if not the biggest, but one of the biggest slave ports in before this became the United States of America, both in the colonies and then the United States of America. And he said, just in good consciousness, I just can't let this slide. And so his question to Governor Russ Moore is, how can we trust you as a candidate? You know, there's a lot of buzz out there that Governor Westmore may someday run for president. We know that South Carolina is now the first state in the Democratic primary. Long story about why that is, but it is. And because that primary is Black people predominate that primary, Representative John King had this moment of thinking, man, you're going to veto a legislation to do a study for reparations, but if you do indeed run for president, you're going to come through South Carolina and ask Black people to vote for you. All you're going to do is incongruent. These two things do not go together. So part of his open letter to the South Carolina Democratic Party regarding Governor Westmore's invitation to the Palmetto Blue Dinner, and he addresses, I want to write to you today, not in haste, but with a heavy and resolute heart, grounded in principle and justice. As Democrats, we often speak of progress, equity, and standing boldly on the right side of history. But when our actions contradict our values, it is our duty to hold each other accountable, no matter the title, the office, or the popularity of the individual. It is in this spirit that I am formally requesting the South Carolina Democratic Party rescind the invitation to Maryland Governor Westmore to speak at the upcoming Palmetto Blue Dinner during our state convention. Governor Moore recently vetoed legislation that would have established a commission to study reparations for the descendants of enslaved people in Maryland. This was not just a policy decision, it was a painful dismissal of an ongoing struggle for justice that Black Americans continue to face across this country. It was a rejection of the very acknowledgement that the wounds of slavery still bleed into the lives of our people today. Woo, Doc. He goes on, we cannot, in good conscience, elevate voices that silence or stall progress on issues as foundational and urgent as reparations. We must make it clear that symbolism without substance, Doc, that is one of my favorite sayings. Symbolisms without substance is no longer acceptable. Representation means nothing if it does not come with a commitment to repair the harms inflicted by systemic racism and slavery. Oh my God. I stand in full and unwavering solidarity with the Maryland Legislative Black Caucus and support their efforts to secure a legislative override of Governor Moore's veto. Their leadership represents the moral clarity and political courage we so desperately need in this moment. To move forward, we must be consistent. If the South Carolina Democratic Party truly stands with the Black community, not just when it's convenient, not just in speeches, but in policy and in action, then disinviting Governor Moore is the right course. My God, you're listening with Truth Time, listening to Truth Time. Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner reading a letter from Representative John King of the great state of South Carolina, asking for the invitation to speak at the Democratic Party dinner to Governor Westmore be rescinded. When we come forward, Dr. West, have at it.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
Has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds. Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach, transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal, prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies. Like how I'm more than Saquon Barkley, the NFL's reigning leading rusher. I'm also the NFL's leading husher. Shh, hush up back there. Wow, I might have just set the hushing record. Well, almost. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Investment Services Corporation, member FINRA, Columbus, Ohio.
This is where love and truth meet.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
Doc, it's on you. That was a whole lot to get in, but it was so powerful that I just couldn't do justice just reading a portion of it. And again, that is State Representative John King. He's the chair of the Progressive Caucus in the state, but such a principled, strong leader. He told me they're already coming after him. He runs again next year. He fears they're going to try to, stop him from gaining his seat back. And those of us who care about people like him being in leadership positions all over this country can help to make sure that he does regain his seat. But Doc, he laid that out.
No, and I'm so glad you read every word of it, because he's one of the few like yourself that's holding on for dear life to morality and spirituality, still trying to push the Democratic Party in a moral and spiritually progressive way. And so they're going to come at him just like they've come at you over and over and over.
And you.
And myself as well, that's true. But especially you all, because you all are, younger brother and sister. I've been out here a long time. They haven't crushed you, then that's all right.
They can't crush you, Doc. They cannot.
Lord. But no, I'm much more concerned about you, those younger than myself, because you got a good 40, 50 years left. I just got a few. But the important thing is the truth telling and the witness bearing. And that's what you hear in that powerful, powerful letter. And he's at the state level, right? He's a state representative.
He is, Doc, at the state level in the great state of South Carolina. I just recently did a tour with them maybe about 4 months ago. I was invited there by the South Carolina Progressive Caucus that he is the leader of. And we went to several areas in the great state of South Carolina, listening to people, sharing vision, sharing dialogue about what people's hopes and dreams are, a vision for what the future could look like. And I'm telling you, that Progressive Caucus is like night and day with people like Congressman Clyburn, for example. You know what I mean? Like they on the opposite side of this, not standing for pomp and circumstances, but really understanding the suffering and the needs of people in South Carolina. And sometimes when we talk about rural communities, we sometimes default to only thinking it's our white sisters and brothers and family and friends, but rural in southern states. So like for Ohio, rural most definitely means most likely white. But when we talk about rural in southern states, it's both black and white people suffering together. And we should care about our rural communities regardless, but it was such an eye-opener. And you and I, Doc, spent so much time in the great state of South Carolina together with Brother Danny Glover and people like Susan Sarandon and a whole host of other folks. And we understand some of the crushing needs in South Carolina.
And my dear Nellam's brothers, good God Almighty, Brother John and Chairman Chris himself, who are just such powerful forces of goods. And they've been critics of the Democratic Party for a long time when they went independent. But crucially, it's a matter of just telling the truth. And see, in the end, truth is so much deeper than any one of these parties. just like the suffering of people is cut so much deeper than any one of these politicians. And if we're not talking about the truth and the suffering, then we need to just get out of the way.
If we can't talk about that, what are we talking about?
Exactly. What are we talking about?
Yeah. What are we talking about? Well, as part of our intro to our show, in between coming forward, it is truth crushed down to the earth shall rise again, and we keeping our eyes on that. Well, big ups for State Representative John King. Please look him up. He's a state rep of South Carolina, laying it down about reparations and the importance of having substance behind symbols. You are listening to Truth Time with the one and only Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner. We want you to live on purpose, live your purpose above all. Understand this: titles are good, but purpose is better. Until next time.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.